Was it you who asked God for wisdom and discernment? So listen calmly. Maybe it is not by chance that you are seeing this right now. You might be going through a somewhat confusing moment, starting to notice something that hurts a little. Not everyone who is close to you is truly on your side. Not everyone who smiles likes you. Not everyone who asks cares from the heart. And do you know something? It may be that God is opening your eyes with kindness so you can understand something important. Because one of the greatest sadnesses in life is not only when an enemy hurts us. Sometimes, those who hurt us are people we allowed to get too close. People who knew a lot about you, who heard your secrets, who entered parts of your life that should have been protected. The Bible has already taught this for a long time. Look at what it says in the book of Psalms. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. Psalm 37 verse 5. This means that, before fully trusting people, you first need to learn to trust God. And it also says, for the Lord gives wisdom. From His mouth come knowledge and understanding. Psalm 119 verse 66. In other words, it is God who teaches us to see things more clearly. Now think with me. Many people make mistakes not because they are bad, but because they are innocent or emotionally needy. They confuse being close with being trustworthy. They confuse conversation with real friendship. They confuse attention with love. And because of that, they end up opening their hearts too early to people who have not yet proven they deserve that trust. There is a very well-known story in the Bible, Samson and Delilah. Samson was strong, chosen by God, and had a beautiful purpose. But he made a mistake. He let the wrong person get too close. At first, it seemed normal. Delilah was there, close, asking questions, wanting to know more. But not all curiosity is care. Sometimes it is just someone trying to discover what you should have kept protected. She insisted so much that Samson eventually told the secret he should have guarded. And here comes another important lesson from the book of Psalms. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Psalm 4 verse 23, central idea. This means, not everyone needs to know everything about you. God does not want to push you away from people. He wants to protect you. He wants to give you wisdom to know who can come in and who should stay outside. So if you are starting to see this now, do not be sad. Be alert. Because when God opens your eyes, it is to take care of you. And when He revealed too much of what was secret, He lost His strength. Pay attention to this with love. The problem was not only the danger from the outside. The biggest problem was the access He gave from the inside. And this still happens today, all the time. There are people who did not lose their peace only because of life's difficulties. They lost their peace because they talked too much, shared too much, explained too much, exposed too much. There are people who cannot keep what they feel inside their hearts. They need to tell everyone. And without realizing it, they end up giving away very important parts of their lives to people who do not have the maturity, care, or loyalty to handle it. Maybe you have already been through this, or maybe you are still going through it. You opened your heart. You shared your dreams. You talked about your pain. You exposed your weaknesses. And then you realized that what was sacred to you became common talk in other people's mouths. It became opinion. It became criticism. It became distance. It became disappointment. And that is why wisdom is so important in life. Because not everyone deserves access to your story. Not everyone needs to know what God is doing inside of you. Not everyone is prepared to hear what you carry in your heart. This is not being cold. This is being wise. The Bible already reminds us of this in the book of Proverbs. Above all else, guard your heart. Proverbs 4 verse 23. In other words, protect what you feel, what you think, what you live within. Because many people remain exhausted inside precisely because they do not know how to set boundaries. They keep trying to please everyone. They keep worrying about what others will think. They keep themselves emotionally too exposed. And this slowly drains their strength, peace, and joy. That is why strengthening the mind and heart is so important. Learning to set boundaries. Learning not to depend on others' approval. Learning not to live hostage to anyone's opinion. Spiritual maturity is also this. Knowing how to close some doors without guilt. But there is something even deeper here. Because the problem is not always just talking too much. Sometimes, the problem is not noticing the signs of who should no longer have access to your life. There is a very big difference between being close and being trustworthy. Not everyone who walks beside you deserves to know what is inside your heart. Not every person who talks to you every day is ready to have access to your plans, your pain, and what God is building in silence within your life. And the truth is that many people only learn this after pain, after disappointment, after trusting too early, after talking too much, after opening doors for those who did not know how to respect what they received. The Bible already teaches this care in the book of Proverbs. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4 verse 23. Do you notice the detail? It is not just about taking care, it is about guarding. To guard means to protect. It means not leaving everything accessible. It means understanding that not everything needs to be seen, not everything needs to be told, not everything needs to be given away. But this does not mean living suspicious of everyone or with a closed heart. It means living with discernment. It means understanding that access is something serious, and it must be given with wisdom. Maybe you have already been through something like this. You trusted someone. You shared a plan. You opened a pain. You told a prayer. You spoke about something very intimate. And later you realized that that person did not treat it the way they should have. Maybe they minimized what you felt. Maybe they criticized it. Maybe they told others, or even used it against you at a difficult moment. And that is when you understood, in practice, the weight of giving access to someone who was not yet mature enough for it. The Bible also teaches us this in another psalm of wisdom in the book of Psalms. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. Psalm 121 verse 5. In other words, before fully trusting people, learn to first rest in God, because He never fails in protecting what belongs to you. A very strong example of this is the story of Joseph. God placed big dreams in his heart, dreams of the future, dreams that came from God Himself. But Joseph told these dreams to people who were not prepared to understand them. He shared them with his brothers. And the reaction was not support, it was rejection. It was jealousy. It was pain. This shows something very deep. Not everything God shows you should be told to everyone. Because the problem is not just the dream, it is who is listening. And God's timing is also part of wisdom. As the Bible says in the book of Psalms, commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. Psalm 37 verse 5. In other words, there are things you do not need to rush by speaking. You need to mature by trusting. God does not only give you dreams, He also teaches you how to protect what He placed inside of you. Some processes need silence. Some promises need protection. Some plans need to mature away from exposure. Because when something is still being born, like a seed, any wrong environment can slow down its growth. It can suffocate what God is still forming. This applies to many areas of life: projects, decisions, relationships, and even internal changes. There are people who speak before the right time. They talk about the plan before building it. They share a decision before it matures. And then they get hurt when criticism comes, doubt, irony, or discouragement. But the truth is simple. Not every opinion deserves to enter the place where God is working within you. The Bible itself shows this principle with wisdom in the book of Proverbs. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Proverbs 16 verse 9. In other words, not everything needs to be exposed in order to work. Some things need to be kept until the right time. And when we look at Jesus Christ, we see this clearly. In many moments, He did not explain everything to everyone. He did not give everything to anyone. There were crowds around Him, but different levels of closeness and intimacy. This is very deep, because it shows that proximity is not the same as trust. And maybe God is teaching you this right now as well, to review who has access to your life, who truly brings you peace, who respects your journey, who honors your presence, and who is only nearby, but not truly with you. Because there are people who enter our lives and strengthen us, but there are also those who drain us. They drain peace. They drain focus. They drain energy. They drain direction. And many times, the problem is not what they do, but the access we continue to allow. That is why many people remain emotionally exhausted, not because they are weak, but because they never learned to set healthy boundaries. They do not know how to say no. They do not know how to stand their ground. They do not know how to close access that should have already been shut. But there is an important wisdom here. Protecting your life is also an act of courage. It is not about isolating yourself from everyone. It is about carefully choosing who truly remains. And the Bible reinforces this in the book of Psalms. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. Psalm 121 verse 7. Notice, God does not only guide you, He also protects you. And when you begin to understand that not everyone needs access to your life, something changes inside you. You begin to live with more lightness, more peace, more clarity. And maybe this is one of the greatest lessons of spiritual maturity, learning to discern without becoming hardened and to protect without losing sensitivity. Because those who learn this begin to live with more balance, more direction, and far less unnecessary pain. Not everyone who enters your life can remain with the same level of access. Proximity alone does not guarantee trust. True access must be based on character, loyalty, and honor. Many people suffer not only because of what they have gone through, but because of the excess access they gave to the wrong people. Opening the heart without discernment, sharing plans without prudence, explaining yourself too much to those who never had commitment to your essence. This drains, hurts, and steals your peace. But God wants to teach you to live with more wisdom. Not everything needs to be told. Not everything needs to be exposed. Not everyone needs to know what is happening inside you. There is a great strength in protected silence. There is a deep peace in keeping what is still being handled by God. Jesus reminds us of this in Matthew 7 verse 6. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. This is not about arrogance. It is about discernment, about understanding that what is precious must be protected and treated with care. Maybe today God is teaching you to better protect your life, your mind, your heart, and the purpose He has placed within you. Because when you learn this, something changes. You stop living so exposed. You stop depending so much on the reactions of others. You stop getting hurt so easily. And you begin to walk with more strength, more peace, and more clarity. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Psalm 27 verse 1. So start today. Choose wisely who you give access to. Guard your heart. Trust God first. And commit yourself to walking in greater discernment and peace. If you felt this message in your heart, leave the word discernment in the comments and share this video with someone who needs to hear this today. Start practicing wisdom right now and watch your life be transformed.